Also, this Depot 2015 is important for us for one reason. Another one is that there is going to be Center for Creative Entrepreneurship. This means that we would like to provide incubation programs, we would like to provide a space for co-working, we also have ateliers and also space for exhibitions. So this kind of changing old industrial venue into something creative is our aim for 2015, but what is more important is to sustain over the next years. So Depot 2015 Creative Zone will be officially open on the 24th of April with the exhibition of Domus design. But today, of course, you can also have a look. And I'm really looking forward for discussion with all of you because you are already experienced as European Capital of Culture in 2009, but also experienced in setting and recreating this kind of old industrial sites and also like setting up conditions for creatives and bridging them with business. So please I would like to introduce Tereza Sanjuan, who is a representative of European Commission representation in the Czech Republic. And she would like to tell you just a bit more about the series of discussions which are going to take place during this year.
Thank you. I wish you a very nice afternoon. Hezké odpoledne. I will also stick to English, although my mother tongue is Czech. Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear guests, I'm very happy to have such a beautiful selection of great success stories and examples you will be representing here today. It's not by chance that you all come from Austria, Linz. I believe it has something to do with the year 2009 when Linz was holding a title of the European Capital of Culture. And it is a very successful one from the point of view of the European Commission, and I also believe from the point of view of the city and its citizens. Today we are starting a first debate of a joint project of the representation of the European Commission in Prague, where I work, and Plzeň 2015. We will focus on 6 topics that have a strong European dimension. And I would like to ask Misha to tell us a little bit more about these debates that will be run throughout the year 2015 here in Plzeň.
Okay, thank you for this introduction. And I would like to invite you also for the next series, which is going to place on the 28th of April. And it's going to be focusing on something like, are you entrepreneur and would you like to increase and maybe like promote your entrepreneurship in foreign countries, then you should come for the event which is called Plzeňský business hotel. We can say it in Czech, of course. And you can meet interesting speakers from foreign countries, and also to get maybe more information about financial possibilities, how to maybe support your entrepreneurship. And also the topics, as Tereza mentioned, are really connected to creative industries and also like to the European dimension. So that's why we decided to invite interesting speakers from foreign countries who are already maybe, let's say that they are more experienced than we are, and we would like to learn something and discuss with them topics as we are facing now. And also, like, what is important to say, we are following like trends. We are trying to do that. So, for example, topics as crowdfunding, topics as innovation, design thinking will be also focused on this in these discussions. So, please, you can follow the information on the website of Depot 2015, and also just look for the mark Debate Europe. Okay.
Thank you, Misha. Let me just tell a few more words before we start with the real business, what you came here for. I'm not an expert on culture, but I'm just going to try to give you a very brief portrait what is the European Commission and why we are, what is the Commission doing for culture and why. The reasons are twofold. First of all, Europe is such a rich continent full of linguistic and cultural secrets and variety, and we really would like to promote this. And the second reason is an economic and social. There is an increasing growth of recognition that culture and creative industry is creating growth. Recent estimates actually say that between 4 and 5% of GDP in the European Union stands behind these two industries. And it can create up to 4% of jobs in the European Union. Just for your, I mean, just to portray this, this is about roughly the population of Austria, 8.5 million. Nevertheless, what are we doing? We are providing direct financial incentives and support and technical support. The most famous program you might know is called Creative Europe, that now from 2014 for 7 years is providing grant worth 1.46 billion euro. So if you're interested in more information, I invite you to get in touch with your Creative Europe desk or the European Commission. I will not speak more because you're waiting for the debate. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you a very fruitful, creative, and inspiring afternoon.
Thank you, Tereza. And now, please, I would like to welcome here on stage my colleague Lucia Seal from Linz, as she is an expert on creative industries, and she is also a great person who I already met 1 year ago, I guess. So please take word.
Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, it will be my pleasure to guide you throughout this event of today. And I would like to start just with a few words why creative industries are important from a city perspective, from a city development perspective. Of course, creativity arrives or develops much more naturally in an urban environment rather than in a rural one. Yes, that's nothing new, I tell you, but it's this agglomeration of creativity and creative service providers within a city that increases the attractiveness of a city, and by that also its potential for economic development. So it's always turns, we have to keep an eye also on the economic perspective. And I think Europe recognizes, like Tereza said, the potential creative industries have, and it has put an eye or a special focus on its development for a couple of years, not just by developing initiatives like the European Creative Industries Alliance, but also by supporting various projects where countries, regions, cities have the possibility to cooperate and learn from each other. And this is actually how, I'm sorry, Michaela, I'm sitting with the back with you. Actually, this is how I met Michaela 1 year ago through one of Interreg 4C projects, which was called Cross Innovation, where we started first to exchange experiences and get to know each other. So this cooperation continues today with our presence here. I will not, yes, I would like to say as well that it is very important in order to be able to develop the creative industries as such and give them the potential to flourish as an industry and not just keep the creativity in separate areas. It's important to put them at the political agenda. And I say this meaning also the local, the city level, the regional level, the national level, and of course the European level. So without this political support oriented on a long-term perspective, it would be difficult to ensure a sustainable development of such industries and make use of their potential in other sectors. So I would like to spend just 1 minute on the format we're going to have this evening or this afternoon. First of all, we will have individual very short presentations of the participants from the Inspirátoři from Linz. Thank you for the name, it's very nice. So very quick presentations to give you an overview of what the organizations represented here stand for, what are they doing. And then we would like to go into direct discussions with you, and I would like to encourage you to ask as many questions as you would like to and get the information directly from the source. So that will be the format, and afterwards, Michaela, you will take over. So I would like to start the presentations round by introducing, first of all, Mrs. Susanne Wegscheider. She is the city councillor of the city of Linz, responsible for the economic affairs, as well as Mrs. Barbara Kowska-Sagmeister. She is responsible for the economic development of the city of Linz. So we would present you Linz from the perspective of the Capital Culture 2009, first of all in a short video, and afterwards in some words explaining what has happened ever since 2009 and how Linz supports the creative industries. So the video will be now.
Sorry, the film is in German, but that's no problem because you should take the pictures. And in Austria we say pictures is more than 1,000 words, and you should get an impression. That's important. The film was made 2009, so some things are still in the present tense. Yes, but it's interesting. You see what Linz is like.
Thank you.
The film.
Was haben diese Produkte gemeinsam? Sie kommen alle aus Linz, der Landeshauptstadt von Oberösterreich. Entstanden in einem Umfeld, wo die Kunst zu wirtschaften und zu forschen neue Wege geht. Linz ist neben Wien die Technologiestadt Österreichs und Wirtschaftsmotor für eine ganze Region. Eine Stadt, die Lebensqualität mit naturnahen Erholungsräumen und einem attraktiven Freizeitangebot. Mit vorbildlicher sozialer Versorgung und gut ausgebauter Infrastruktur. Linz ist eine Stadt zum Leben, zum Arbeiten und zum Wohlfühlen. Unterstützt wird das Linz-Feeling durch eine sehenswerte Altstadt mit lebendiger Geschichte. Hoch über der Stadt eröffnet am Pöstlingberg als Linzer Wahrzeichen märchenhafte Welt. Im Gegensatz dazu moderne Architektur, Sinnbild für kontinuierliche Entwicklung und eine Stadt, die Veränderungen liebt. Was besonders auffällt, Wirtschaft, Forschung und Kultur haben in Linz ein enges Verhältnis. Verbindendes Element ist das Thema Technologie, das sich in allen Bereichen widerspiegelt. Der traditionelle Industriestandort fördert seit Jahren Innovation und Weiterentwicklung. Eine dynamische Wirtschaft bereitet den Boden für Kulturexperimente. Zukunftsorientierte Forschung eröffnet Chancen im Arbeitsleben und im Kulturleben. Linz ist stolz auf renommierte Vorzeigebetriebe und internationale Top-Events. Linz ist mit 190.000 Einwohnern der zweitgrößte Wirtschaftsraum Österreichs und liegt mit einer der niedrigsten Arbeitslosenquoten im Spitzenfeld Europas. Die traditionelle Stahlstadt an der Donau hat aber in den vergangenen 3 Jahrzehnten große Veränderungen erlebt. Nach der verstaatlichten Krise gingen Industriearbeitsplätze verloren. Mit viel Mut zu Neuem hat Linz auf Innovation gesetzt. In der Flüst wurde bereits in der Nachkriegszeit mit dem ELD-Verfahren zur Stahlproduktion Wirtschaftsgeschichte geschrieben. Parallel zur erfolgreichen Umweltsanierung in den 80er Jahren entwickelte der Konzern aus dem flüssigen Gold ein einzigartiges Hightech-Produkt. Heute ist der Linzer Standort das führende Kompetenzzentrum für die Automobilindustrie.
Linz ist der Kern des Voestalpine-Konzerns, wird es auch in Zukunft bleiben. Hier ist das Headquarter eines hoffentlich auch auf lange Sicht erfolgreichen, nicht nur europäischen, sondern globalen Konzerns. Wir begrüßen auch die Erweiterung des Spektrums, des Horizonts in Richtung Kultur, weil letztlich ist es wichtig, ein gesamtheitliches Zukunftsbild zu zeichnen. Und nur Industrie wäre für eine Stadt wie Linz zu wenig, sondern wir brauchen ein ausgewogenes Gesamtszenario. Da gehört die Industrie natürlich dazu, da gehört aber auch die Kultur dazu, da gehört auch das Offenwerden gegenüber Europa dazu, und ich glaube, Linz ist auf einem guten Weg.
Impulse für die Weiterentwicklung des Standortes Linz kommen auch von einem weiteren traditionellen Wirtschaftssektor, der Chemiebranche. Hohe Investitionen für Sicherheit und Umwelt, aber auch in Forschung und Entwicklung zeichnen für den Erfolg verantwortlich. Im Linzer Chemiepark wird mit innovativen Produkten der Boden für weltweit erfolgreiche Wirtschaft bereitet. Ein eigener Lehrstuhl für Kunststofftechnik an der Universität unterstreicht das Linzer nahe Verhältnis von Wissenschaft und Wirtschaft. Innovationen führen zu Strukturwandel. Das zeigt der enorme Zuwachs an unternehmensnahen Dienstleistern. Die Linzer Kreativen nehmen mit rund 75% den Löwenanteil am Wirtschaftsmix in Anspruch. In Linz werden Synergien genutzt. So entstehen Projekte und Kooperationen von internationaler Bedeutung. Der Standort Linz kann auf eine ausgewogene Mischung aus Klein-, Mittel- und Großbetrieben verweisen. In Partnerschaft mit der Stadt werden optimale Rahmenbedingungen geschaffen. Als bekennender Technologiestandort fördert Linz besonders den Bereich Informations- und Kommunikationstechnologie. Mit Unterstützung der EU wurde das größte Technologiezentrum Oberösterreichs, das Tech Center im Winterhafen, errichtet. Linz investiert mit konzentrierter Betriebsansiedlung in die Zukunft. Beispiele sind der Franzosenhausweg und der Südpark Linz. Ausgestattet mit guter Verkehrsinfrastruktur und gefördert durch die Stadt, haben hier namhafte nationale und internationale Firmen einen idealen Unternehmensstandort gefunden. Die erfolgreiche Wirtschaft bringt Stabilität in den städtischen Arbeitsmarkt. Heute hat Linz mehr Arbeitsplätze als Einwohner. Ein Pool von top qualifizierten und gut ausgebildeten Mitarbeitern bietet Chancen für unternehmerische Vielfalt. Die zahlreichen Bildungs- und Weiterbildungsmöglichkeiten, darunter auch eine Fachhochschule, unterstreichen die Stärken des Standorts. Die praxisorientierte Johannes-Kepler-Universität setzt Schwerpunkte bei Informatik und Mechatronik und gilt österreichweit als Kompetenzzentrum in diesen Bereichen. Kooperationen der Universität mit der Wirtschaft sind nicht die Ausnahme, sondern die Regel.
Ohne die Universität wäre die Erfolgsgeschichte DICE überhaupt nicht möglich gewesen. Man kann DICE als Spin-off-Unternehmen der Johannes-Kepler-Universität bezeichnen. Wir haben an der Universität die richtigen Forschungsthemen bearbeitet. Diese Kooperation ist essentiell für die Weiterentwicklung eines Wirtschaftsstandortes, weil wichtig sind, dass man Hightech-Arbeitsplätze an einem Standort hat. Und wenn man die Kooperation hier entsprechend unterstützt von der politischen Seite her, und wir haben das auch gesehen, wir sind unterstützt worden von der Stadt, vom Land und vom Bund, und damit kann man auch was bewirken, kann neue Arbeitsplätze, Hightech-Arbeitsplätze schaffen und die Zukunft eines Landes so sehr gut absichern.
Prägnant für die Linzer Wirtschaft sind heute branchenbezogene Trendsetter und Innovationsunternehmen. Eine Folge davon ist die enorme Bandbreite an Zulieferfirmen und Logistikzentren, die von der guten Erreichbarkeit der oberösterreichischen Landeshauptstadt profitieren. Linz ist einer der wichtigsten Ost-West-Verkehrsknoten Österreichs mit optimalen Verkehrsanbindungen. Der Blue Danube Airport Linz gilt als Luftfracht-Drehscheibe für Oberösterreichs exportorientierte Wirtschaft. Da die Stadt an der Donau liegt, hat sich ein weiteres, hochmodernes logistisches Dienstleistungszentrum etabliert. Der Linzer Hafen, als einer der größten Bahnumschlagplätze an der Rhein-Main-Donau-Straße, erfüllt alle Ansprüche eines erstklassigen Kombiverkehrszentrums. zu neuen Ufern aufgebrochen ist die Kunst im industriellen Umfeld. Das Forum Metall ist heute noch Teil der Linzer Kultur- und Wirtschaftsgeschichte. Die renommierte Kunstuniversität setzt ihre eigenen speziellen Akzente. Linzer Design sorgt für internationales Aufsehen.
Ich glaube, dass Linz gerade ein Modellbeispiel dafür ist, wie sehr Kunst und Wirtschaft zueinander finden können. Erst nur Industriestadt mit rauchenden Schlotten, jetzt Industrie- und Kulturstadt. Das ist eine unglaubliche Entwicklung gewesen, die sehr, sehr positiv ist. Und beide brauchen in Wahrheit einander.
Die Kultur setzt in Linz, ähnlich wie die Wirtschaft, auf klare Positionierung. Mit elektronischer Kunst hat sich die Stadt weltweit einen Namen gemacht. Ein eigenes Museum, das Electronica Center, eröffnet die Welt der digitalen Interaktion. Virtuelle Realität in permanenter Auseinandersetzung mit Kunst, Technologie und Gesellschaft sind die bestimmenden Filme. Mit dem Electronica Festival wird Linz einmal im Jahr zur Bühne für Installationen, Interaktionen und Performances. Ein Ereignis der Sonderklasse bringt Jahr für Jahr tausende Besucher an die Donau. Die Linzer Klangwolke und das Brückenfest rücken Linz ins internationale Rampenlicht. Das Konzerthaus am Schluss mit seinem renommierten Orchester und individuellen Konzertangeboten lässt sich in keine Schublade zwängen. Es ist typisch Linz und einfach klassisch anders. Gleich neben dem Brucknerhaus setzt das Lenkers Kunstmuseum Linz Signale. Mit beeindruckender Architektur, mit wertvollen Beständen, mit vielseitigen Ausstellungen. Es gilt als eines der wichtigsten österreichischen Museen für zeitgenössische Kunst. Ebenfalls sehr beeindruckend, mit einer österreichweit einzigartigen Partnerschaft wurden 10% der Gesamtkosten von den heimischen Großunternehmen gesponsert. Kunst und Kultur sind in Linz manchmal schrill, manchmal still. Immer am Puls der Zeit. Zum Anfassen, zum Staunen, zum Mitmachen. Einfach Kultur für alle. So auch 2009. Dann ist Linz Kulturhauptstadt Europas. Neue Schauplätze für Kunst und Kultur sind im Entstehen, werden das Bild der Stadt nachhaltig prägen. Inhaltlich widmet sich 2009 den Beziehungen zwischen Industrie, Kultur und Natur. Dem Freigestirn, das so deutlich das Lebensgefühl in Linz bestimmt.
Okay, thank you. Now, after having seen Linz in pictures, it would be very interesting to hear from the representatives of the city government. How does the city support the creative sector, and how, and particularly how? What kind of support measures have you installed or put into practice for this kind of support?
How does it work? Just give me a voice. It works? No?
Yes.
Really? Yes, you understand? Okay. We started the creative industry already 2007. So it was the year when the first activities to the cultural capital began. This also started 2007. And of course the cultural capital helped advance the creative industry very much. And we went together. We went the way together. The responsible people from the Linz 09 and the creative industry. We went side by side, and so we developed the things. We brought the awareness. What is creativity? What does it mean? People hadn't heard it before, so nobody had the awareness as strong as it was necessary, because creative industry and culture are important inputs for industry, for economy. And as you heard, we have smaller enterprises, medium enterprises, and of course industry. And they need inputs, they need to be developed. And this way we went. Okay. Until now. Okay. The way hasn't ended, it's still going on.
Thank you very much for this first input. We will go then into detail in the discussion round that will follow after all the presentations. We now go further to the Tabakfabrik Linz, which is the pendant of Papierna, or the depot. Is this correct, Michaela? So you have an old tobacco factory, and this will be made into or transformed for for quite some time, and with a future that you're going to see in the coming slides. And this will be presented by Thomas Diesenreiter, but we also have among us Chris Senlab. Just a few words about Thomas. Thomas has signs for the communication and promotion agendas of the Tabakfabrik Linz, and also for the whole program related to the development of a creative quarter, whereas Chris Senlab is responsible for the event management. He has both have a background in arts and culture, but Chris also particularly, if I understood correctly, you're a theater man. So you have, so Chris founded and managed the Theater Virulent in Austria, and he has the perfect setting in the space created by the Tabakfabrik, also to give the events and the promotions, promotional activities happening there a theatrical touch, whatever it is, but it's related to this mise en scène. So now the word goes to Thomas, and please introduce the audience to the Tabakfabrik Linz.
Okay. Hello. I want to stand up so I can see the presentation myself. Okay. Well, I'll go behind the boxes. Okay. First off, I'm going to show you some pictures and tell you the story of the place. And just to give you some basic information, the factory is a former tobacco factory. It was built in the 1930s. It's now a listed building, so it's protected. It's a really beautiful building, and it closed down the factory in 2009. And 2010, the city of Linz bought the factory, and now we are developing a creative quarter inside it, and we see it as part of the city development strategy. It's really big. It has 80,000 square meters of space, and so you can imagine it's quite a huge exercise to do, and we are thinking about the horizon of 2040 and how far we have to plan ahead for the space. At the moment, we have about 300 people on site, which come from different fields, mostly creative industries, but also people from arts, from culture, and we try to have a really open mind about what is creativity and which things do we count into it as well. On the other hand, we also have events, lots of events, so also other people from outside can rent the space and make events. There as well we have a very broad selection of things happening, small lectures, workshops, concerts with thousands of people, and we try to also have a very diverse approach to it. For example, we have 3 levels of rent, so if a business comes to us, they pay 10 times as much as, for example, a cultural initiative or an artist or somebody who is doing a student project or stuff like that. Yeah, it works really well. We have at the moment about 180,000 visitors a year at the events. And for the creatives, we have a waiting list of about 250 organizations and companies and artists who want to move into our into the factory, and we are trying to find space for all of them. Now just some images, so you have some idea what the factory looks like and what the people are doing. This, for example, is a group of dancers which rent the space. We have classical offices. This is the office of the Creative Region. It's an intermediary organization founded in, I think, 2010 as well, and they want to develop the creative industries in Linz and the region of Upper Austria. They're also funded by the city of Linz and by the federal government. We have, for example, the biggest collection of arcade video games in Europe, as far as I know. We have, of course, social places, bars, restaurants. We have offices, really modern offices, and really old-style industrial offices as well. And just some more images from events. This, for example, is a classic business event we're doing. We also have like small interventions like this, classical concerts. We have big operas. We have fairs. We have many different fairs. For example, this is a picture of the YOUrope fair. It's a fair about ecological design and ecological fashion. At the moment, I think they're also the biggest one in Austria, and I'm pretty sure they're compared in Europe, they're one of the biggest as well. At the moment, they have a space of about 8,000 square meters rented for the fair. And yeah, another thing, small movie showings, just to give you some impressions, or parties like this one. Okay, how did it begin? As I mentioned, the office or the building was bought in 2010, but of course everybody knew that the company was going to close down, so we had just about 4 years of discussion beforehand what to do with the building and where to go with it. And there have been many different ideas for the building, many different groups who tried to lobby for their ideas, and it was very, I think, in the beginning, not very clear where to go, but in the end, the idea to create a place for creativity, for arts, for culture, was able to go through. And you see, this is the same place as on the first slide. So this is about, I think, in 2010, and you see how it developed since then. Our concept, what we are doing, is we are the development and organization company. So we run the whole place and we try to make everybody happy. This means we have set up some guidelines for ourselves and how to do it, how to approach the development of the place. And we said 4 things are important for us. Participation, which means work together with the community, with the users, give them hear what they want to do and give them the tools they need to develop the place together with us. For example, this also means work hard yourself. You see, here's Chris, and this is our director of development washing the place, 2012, I think. Transparency is important. We try to be as transparent and open as possible because this produces trust, and trust is important for the people to come with us on this long way forward. In the beginning, it was really important because there were not too many things clear where things will end. So it's important to have a trusted relationship with the community. And in the end, sustainability is important as well. In the moment, we are funded by the city of Linz. We have our own budget, and the numbers are getting better and better. And the long-term goal is to sustain ourselves and to pay back as well the money which was invested, of course. The plan is to be a place where people want to come to, where they feel comfortable, where they have a creative atmosphere, where there's a network hub for creatives, and where they can share their ideas and their resources. For example, we have workshops, we have wooden workshops, we have metal workshops, we have a printer, and we try to share these resources for all the people who are on site, and so that not everybody has to have the same tools in his office or in his space. And the basic idea is, of course, to also provide a blueprint how to transform places like this from industrial places, because at the moment Linz is really an industrial city, but there are many other empty buildings as well which need to be used again, or which can be used again, and we think that we can implement a prototype way how to approach projects like this. Small slide. This is okay. You can't really read anything on the projection, I think, but it's It's a network study done by a research company in Vienna, and it shows the kind of network we are embedded into. We are somewhere here together with the Electronica, for example, and yeah, we came out pretty good, I think, in the last survey. And just to give you some impression what we're going to do next, as you see here, the highlighted parts of the buildings, this is the next step we are going to do. We are going to renovate the space. We're going to invest about 8 million euros into the buildings, and we are going to create about 8,000 new square meters of space for rent, and we are going to create 16,000 square meters of space for events and temporary usage. We were going to start in autumn, and we are planning to be finished in 2017. And some of the users will move in even earlier. For example, there will be the University of Arts with a new fashion and technology group will come to us on about 1,000 square meters. We will have shops for. We will have restaurants, we will have new event spaces, we will have office spaces, and yeah, the building is really beautiful. You have to take a look at it on more pictures on the internet, and yeah, it will be great when it's finished. So that's basically the short version.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Thomas. Right after all the presentations, you will have the possibility to engage in the discussions and ask direct questions that are ardent to you, directly to Thomas or to Chris. Now we go to the next step, Ars Electronica Center. I would not introduce Ars Electronica Center as such, but I would like to introduce Andreas. He's the managing director of the Ars Electronica Center. There are many other divisions related to the word Ars Electronica. Andreas started in the touristic field, then went into international business and was involved from the time of his studies into the activities of Ars Electronica, and now he manages the center since 2011. So Andreas, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much, and also very warm welcome and hello this afternoon. Excuse me when I stand up again. As you've seen in the movie, you just saw the rendering of the Ars Electronica Center. Now I can present you. It's actually came to life, and since 2009 we have this wonderful building that a few words I would like to tell you about. Ars Electronica is, even though the name is very new, it's actually quite a long history that we have, and this is a history that connects us very much with the city. I don't want to go too much into the figures that you probably cannot read from the background anyway, but our timeline dates back to 1979. I don't know how old most of you are. I was 2 years at that time, and even though here in Linz, they started a discussion about this new technology and what this new technology will mean for our everyday lives. So the triangle between art, technology and society is what Ars Electronica is working in. And since we are nearly 35 years old now, we kind of continuously developed this transformation process that Linz went through. You saw the videos, you saw the images of being industrial town, steel industry, chemical industry, but Ars Electronica was very much a part of this transformation of the town of Linz. 79 we started as a festival, so once a year for 1 week Linz became the capital, so to speak, of media art. So actually a time where words like media art actually didn't exist. I mean, those things we carry around our pockets, iPhones, etc., they are 5, 6, 7 years old. Yeah, 1979 there was no words like personal computer. It was invented 3 years later by IBM, etc. So here Linz was a very first mover in this media field, and so we continuously followed. Just a few figures: 87. We founded the Pre-Ars Electronica, a competition that we held every year, and this is for us a very great source and a very valuable source, because we have about 4,000 entries from creative people from all over the world, handing in their ideas, their videos, the animation, their works, and then being selected by an international jury and curating the best works of last year. And a big step, particularly for the town, was 1996, when the first Ars Electronica Center opened, the first museum of the future, as it is called. But here it is, again, we are not explaining you how your cell phone works, how you can do a PowerPoint presentation, etc. What interests us is what does it mean for us as a society? What does it mean for me as a person if I carry around more computer power in my pocket than the NASA had to send the astronauts to the moon, etc.? What does it mean that we constantly documentate our lives, we share it with everyone, we make business on a total different level? And this is what we are kind of educating the people in and around Linz. Together with the center, we also opened our Future Lab. This was our own research and development department, and this is a close collaboration partner to what is now called the creative industry. Because together with the Future Lab, we started really to research in what will be new technologies, what will be new ways in human interactive design, what will be, I don't know, at the moment, for example, the German car industry is a big customer of us. When we talk about autonomous cars, autonomous vehicles, how do you communicate with those vehicles? That's where companies like Mercedes and BMW are coming to our Future Lab to get an idea of how a new language with those vehicles will be, what it could be. And why do I point out the Future Lab is so important? Because it's not only our own research, but we put a lot of training into people there. In the movie, there was the University of Applied Sciences in Hagenberg was mentioned, for example. Lots and lots of those students, after finishing their university, went to the Future Lab and started to work there on one project, maybe just for half a year, others stayed longer for 2-3 years. But over now, nearly 20 years, I don't know how many students got their first jobs here, their first approach, their first kind of connection to those new technologies in our Future Lab. And of course, many of them left the Future Lab, founded maybe their own companies, maybe end up in the Tabakfabrik now and have their own working spaces there and continue working on their works there. Etc., etc., it continues on. And finally, 2009, our big birthday present was the new Ars Electronica Center, the museum as we have it now, with about 3,500 square meters of exhibition space. And as I said, birthday present, it was our 30 years birthday present for the cultural capital. And the newest division of Ars Electronica is the Ars Electronica Solutions. They're actually sitting, they have residency in the Tabakfabrik, and they are really working on taking these developments out of the prototype context and really transfer it into real products that can sustain on the market and do projects and works on a commercial base. Why do I focus so much on this timeline? Because I think this is a very, very important source when it comes to really bringing up such businesses. Because 35 years of Ars Electronica means also 35 years of continuously support by the town of Linz. I mean, in the end, we are a cultural institution. We, in parts of our business, like the museum, like the festival, like the we of course depend on public money. This is not a thing that you can do on a profitable base, yeah. But these side effects, as I said, the Future Lab, the solutions, the training, this collaboration, these networks, these people from all over the world that we bring to Linz, these are kind of the revenues that are being brought back into the city, into the minds, into the creative industry. And without this continuously support, this wouldn't be possible. This couldn't happen actually in the way it is now. I also brought just a few pictures of the last couple of years. It's actually a little bit hard to see, but our big project for Linz 2009 was the 80+1 travel. We had a big kind of head center at the main square of Linz, where we really did a travel around the world in 80 days with 80 different topics, with 80 different projects continuing. We had discussion with all over the world, so we have again this very much this network input coming from outside world into the game and into Linz. One of my favorite projects was actually again where we have this feedback back to the town loop, was the Linz tent. Twice a year there's a big market along the Danube. It's a huge show, you have tents, you have entertainment and all those kind of things. And we were asked by the town of Linz to build a tent inside there where the town of Linz can present what resources, what infrastructure, what kind of services the town of Linz offer to to its inhabitants, to these people living there. And we did it in this very Ars Electronica-like way. We didn't kind of made up a usual trade fair show with roll-ups and usual presentations, but we made it on a very interactive design where people really could stay and enjoy their stay. As it says, it's a fair, it's a trade fair, it's a show where people go there for amusement, but within this amusement context they also learned a little bit about their city, and all under the topic Linz verändert, Linz changes. The Ars Electronica Center, that's where I'm actually responsible. As I said, this wonderful building. Just a few words what came up and what this continuously project is working. Museum Total, this is a collaboration that began in 2009. Because the museums, there are several museums in Linz and all have their different owners. Some of them be run by the town of Linz, some are run by the federal government of Upper Austria, etc. So usually these were like more of separated kind of institution. But since 2009, these 15, 14 different institutions work very much together. They really put money together into one pot, and together with the tourist board, we spend this money particularly on commercial and on projects that for us as a museum comes back. Museum Total is just one of the things. Another collaboration that we run to is with the Art University. We have an ongoing exhibition space called Time Out. It's called Time Out 01, 02. We just opened last Friday 03, and there will be 04 in June. So where students, particularly from the time-based and interactive media arts, present their first works in the Ars Electronica Center. And our newest child here is actually the Children Science Laboratory, another collaboration together with the town of Linz, with the youth and welfare service of the town of Linz. This is a possibility where all kindergarten kids can come to the center, all of them when living in the Linz environment and having a first approach to this environment, so they can really become, that the museum becomes their museum. We don't do this all on our own. Of course, we need a huge network that we rely on. What you see here is just what's happening. This was actually happening last Monday. We had, together with this Children Science Laboratory, we had an international conference, bringing international experts into this field, who are the experts in pedagogic and how do you work with 4 or 5 years old kids. And we take their input in and then transfer them back into the reality. And my favorite photo from this week is actually this was happening yesterday. We had 3,200 kids in the museum celebrating what's called the Experimentale. The Experimentale, here we have 21 schools, if I was correct, 21 schools, preparing more than 40 different experiments and then showing and presenting their experiments to other school kids that are invited, and 3,500 kids came yesterday just to experience this kind of approach. Here you see them working and how proud they are. So I think this is the next generation coming up. As I said, we have the Future Lab on a very studentic level, but we lower, the level is much lower as well. Yeah, and there's a last kind of slide I would like to invite you. Also this week happened the press conference for our coming festival. It will be the topic post-city. What are the habitats of the 21st century? I mean, this is also part of this transformation process that we are all talking about here. Our cities, buildings like these ones were built for very different purposes. And what is necessary, what will companies, what will cities look like if we don't need to carry around such goods anymore, if we have our 3D printers at home, if we much more work from home, if you have much smaller working environments, and how do cities, how could they change and how new could they look like? Yeah, first input into Ars Electronica Center. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andreas. And I have to admit that although I come from Linz, there are some new things that I learned about Ars Electronica just as well. And thank you as well for insisting on the correlations between the various actors that are responsible for making out of such an initiative a success over 30 years. That's very important because it's not just Ars Electronica as a unique player, but as you saw, the city of Linz, the research, and also putting an emphasis on the business models that are coming out of its operations. But we wanted to present you the perspective, the Linz perspective from various layers, from various levels. We started with the city government, then we went to city institutions like the Tabakfabrik and Ars Electronica Center, and now we're getting to the ground because after all, the city does, or all these initiatives and efforts are made in order to make businesses flourish. Otherwise, there's no potential for economic development at all. And the next two speakers from Linz will be representative of two companies so that you also see how the creative companies or those related to creativity can develop and flourish and grow, particularly grow within an environment that's been set up by the policy level. And the next speaker will be Martin Leonhardsberger. He is the managing director of the company named Cumulo. Martin started mechatronics and informatics and founded in 2012 the company Cumulo. And early 2014, Cumulo released Nimbusec, is it correct? A monitoring service for hacked websites. So this goes, of course, it's creativity, it's intelligent creativity. I assume how to protect a hacked website. But they're also in the field of big data analysis, artificial intelligence, machine learning. You may say this is not really what the definition of creative industries are, but I assume that from his presentation you will see that there is a link also to the creative sector as traditionally understood. So I would like Martin right now to start your presentation.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for the nice introduction. I can just follow my successors in speaking. I'm like a child of Linz. Actually, I'm born in the Mühlviertel. It's a little bit north of Linz. But my first connection to the Ars Electronica Center, I think it was 1998 when I visited the center first. 1999, I had my second connection when I won the U19 challenge of Ars Electronica. And then I studied in Linz on one of the universities, and this entrepreneurship, startup feeling, the possibilities of Linz, they were all on my way from growing up to the person I'm today now. And well, today I run a company with about 14 employees in the field of like creative work, information technology. Information technology is in our part really, yeah, it's creative work to find new ways for something. And as already told, what we are doing is we detect hacked websites. So big problem nowadays is websites are getting hacked all over the world. Sometimes it's states, okay, Islamic State on the website because somebody wants to make promotion. Sometimes it's software distributed, so-called ransomware, which makes you pay to unlock your computer. And what we are going to do is to help companies to detect if they distribute such software. And I have prepared a short video where I show what we're actually doing.
If you're a CEO, IT specialist, or even a private person, you're more than likely already be using a firewall and an antivirus product to protect your website against hackers. We think that's good, but it's probably not good enough. You could have even stronger protection. According to recent studies, hackers break through common security measures with increasing frequency. And unfortunately, in most cases, this is realized too late and after the damage has been done. But there's no need to worry. Our mission is to protect you against website data breaches. So we developed a more effective solution for you. We present Nimbusec. Nimbusec is a cloud service which monitors and controls your web space 24/7. It constantly checks for malware, blacklisting, and uniquely for defacement. Thereby, it constantly analyzes your website's content, and it's designed to identify any manipulations as soon as they happen. Furthermore, a server agent also keeps a watch for web shells and any malware on your web server. Best of all, NimbySec does this without any interference with your data traffic, because NimbySec is fully compliant with the strongest European data protection directives. If a network attack is identified, the system immediately notifies you via a text message and email, so you can react immediately and respond as quickly as possible to protect any damages to your company's reputation or any financial damage. Finally, most of NimbySec's functions are instantly available. There's no installation required. So get started with NimbySec now, and you'll not only avoid needless repair costs, but you'll also be protecting your company's good name, and most crucially of all, your business. Just sign up now for our trial version at www.nimbysec.com. NimbySec, your website security monitor.
Yeah, and you actually see that's a link to the creative region. That's something my creative team and the company made to present ourselves and our likely complex product to our customers. So, yeah, I would like thank you, and back to you, Lucia.
Thank you. Thank you. Please write down all the questions you may have from all the speakers. We will start opening the floor for discussions after the last presentation, which will be made now by Claus Zerenko. He is a genuine representative of the creative industries. He was in the advertising business for more than 25 years, and right now he's an entrepreneur himself, supporting creative businesses to get more clients, and to quote Claus, even if they hate marketing and selling. So that's your word of... I pass now the word to you to explain to the audience what are you doing and how you could possibly support also the Czech creatives to get more clients and do that through good selling and marketing.
Thank you very much for the invitation to be here in this wonderful, nice city. Thank you very much for the invitation to this nice place and city to be here. I want to talk a little bit about transformation. My transformation is similar to the transformation of the city. As we see here, from industry to creativity. And I want to show you my new way. And this started nearly around the year when our Electronica is born. My name is Claus Zerenko, and I started my business career as a technical engineer. And on the way up, I moved from engineering business to marketing, and one time I started my career in an advertising agency in one of the, at that time, famous agencies in the city, a huge one. And in '93, it was time for me to jump in freedom. And I asked my creative partner, Eric Goldman, to found an own agency. And we started in this year with us both. I would not say as an agency. At the beginning, we are a hot shop, a creative hot shop, and moved on, and it runs very, very well. And I want to jump sometimes far to 2000, 2001, and in this time, our speciality or our expertise moved from a normal agency to a field we call industrial branding. As you have seen, the first Alpine in the video, the huge steel company, we have done in this time the new positioning, the new branding for this famous Austrian company. And it's called now First Alpine, One Step Ahead, is from our creative office. But the interesting thing in this time was that we started with 2 people, and in 2001 there are 23 people around me in my agency. And one time I can remember we sit around, and there comes a voice from anywhere and ask a question. Who is responsible in this agency for new business? And after a short time of silence, all the eyes turned and focused me and say, it's you, because you are the owner, you are the founder, and Eric is the creative part, and creatives don't think about sales or new business things. So it was my part to think about sales techniques, new business things, and so on. And I tried it hard. I read some books, I go to education, to trainings, everything I can find, and I try harder and harder and harder. And it ended here, in this funny chair. It's the beach of Usedom. You may know it, it's in the northern Germany, and very nice island, and they have these funny chairs, and now I know why, because on this beach it's very windy. It's only for kite surfers and windsurfers, and not for me. So I sit there and think about why it's so hard for me to play in this field of new business and sales things. And I don't like to tell the whole story because it's too depressing, and it should be a funny talk. And in this chair, I read a book from a well-known American New York Times best-selling author, Michael Port, and the book is called Book Yourself Solid. And I read it and I think, oh no, what the fuck is this in this book? I searched 25 years for a system in marketing and selling that is made for us creatives, not for the normal salespersons, for more the introvert persons like me, like other people in the creative industry. And so I started to connect with Michael and think about to transform his system for the creative industries. And that's the way, as I call it, the way of a silent salesman. We are not that loud, not that extroverted as the normal salesman. We are the silent ones. And the system Michael told me and showed me is a system that's not based on pushing people to buy something. It's a system based on trust and credibility built over time, that clients come to us and talk to us and try to buy and take work with us. So I cannot tell you the whole story about the system, how it works, but I want to give you some inputs how we work together with creatives in group formats, in trainings or in online trainings. This is the book, $42, and it's invested good. Read it. All the secrets are in there. The main thing I want to tell you here in this short presentation, the system is based on 3 principles. 2 spiritual principles and 1 practical principle. And the first spiritual principle is this: we are, as creatives, like to work only for ideal clients. Clients that inspire us, that gives us energy for our work. And if we can find these ideal clients, we try to make more of this inspiring work, more of this energy, and do more of our best work. And the second thing we have to do is to push away the not so ideal clients. We have to see the difference between the ideal and the not ideal and push the ideals away. So if you follow that concept and can vision a day when you have only ideal clients in your portfolio, when you have only inspiring projects, only projects that energize you, then something will happen. You will love your work, you will love your clients, you will love every minute of the day doing what you're doing. And so Michael told me that the whole system he created is a love story disguised as a business case. So if we can find only ideal clients and work with them, then we fall in love with our clients and also with the concept of selling and marketing. And the third principle is the practical principle that marketing don't get you clients, and this is an idea. It's different for me as a marketing guy, because when clients came to us in the advertising agency and told us that business is not running well, we say, okay, do a little bit more marketing and everything is fine. And then Michael came and said, marketing don't get you clients. What marketing does is it gives awareness for the things you do, for the work you do, and the part after the marketing, after the awareness, is what gets you the client. And this way is to establish trust, to establish credibility over time, that people love to work with you. And that's in whole the fundamental of the system. And feel free, if you like more to know, to connect with me here or over internet, it's easy. And I want to thank all the institutions I'm embedded now, because for me it's really important that the transformation of the city goes on and on and on, from an industrial part to a creative, as we have seen the rise of the Tabakfabrik, 8,000 new square meters for more than 300 creatives. This is wonderful, because they all need new clients, and so thank you very much for your initiatives.
Thank you, Klaus. As a serial entrepreneur, I think that when you mean falling in love with your clients, you don't mean it literally, but in a spiritual way. Okay, thank you. Now, the plan would have been that we're engaging now in a discussion with the participants from Linz, but I think it's time also to engage in a discussion with you. So we're changing a bit the plan, and that is now, if you have written down any questions, or there is something at this point that you would like to ask, it's the right moment to do so, that you also join the discussion and not leave us just make it from here to there, but we would like to have your input as well. So, anyone trying to break the ice from Pilsen? Well, if there's not any ardent, yes, one there.
Hello, my name is Abdulaziz Aldix, and I'm not actually European. I just been living here for 18 years in Pilsen, and sorry, can you hear me? I teach part-time in the university, 3D for beginners, and I have a small studio with a group of friends, and we try always to find a way to make money from the art that we love, the passion, our passion. And we do find it a bit difficult. This is why this is very interesting for us. So my question is, you basically try to find the people who are passionate about what they do, and you try to support them with everything, with every tool that you can. This is what you did in Linz?
If I understand the question correctly, would that be something like a question addressed to the city of Linz, how to support the people who... I'm
loud enough. How do people come and approach you with ideas, and does it have to be something original? Is it easy to find you? Like how do they approach you, basically?
So what are the institutions or the points where the creatives or people who are creative would like to start a business, and where should they go in order to make their ideas happen? And what kind of support they have for that?
First of all, it is easy to find us because we have the creative region Linz and Upper Austria. You can find it at the Tabakfabrik, and we have a close network between partners. It is called the Netzwerk Gründen, the network startups it's called, and every partner knows the other partner. So it is no problem to tell someone who is not right when he comes to you where he should go. There is a close connection. we support this network, and we have also places where creatives can rent a place at very low conditions, and we support them financially too. So the network is really close, and no one will get lost. You get the information at once. So within a few hours, and the colleagues call you and say, oh, we have Mr. X here, and he needs support. I sent him to you, so he's in the right way immediately. No problem.
And if I may add something, the first thing we did with the tobacco factory was to invest into communication, and we created a slogan called "Opened due to construction," which is like a play with normally it's closed due to construction, and we said no, we have to open it up because we want to change it and transform it. And that's the way we went to the media, and they really liked it. So everybody who read a newspaper got to know it, and we said, okay, if you have an idea, come to us. And we don't know if we can do it, but we try our best to see if there's a way. And I think it's a question of what's your attitude toward the people coming to you, you know.
And if I a last comment on this, if I leave my moderator hat, but since I work with Creative Region just as well, is to explain a bit more what the organization does. It's a kind of a network management, like a cluster management. So knowing the scenery, knowing who the other creatives are located in the town or in the region of Upper Austria, so they know very well the backgrounds, but as well all the other possibilities where they could guide you. So if the support that's available in this environment fits you rather to go into the startup scene or get, I don't know, sometimes access to finance from others. So it's actually the first step from the creative perspective. If you have more technological, then you go to the startup support.
Was said before, you will be sent to the next one and then tell you, okay, that's the right person to go. And they actually help you with marketing, they help you building up your business case and business model. In my case, I'm a technician. I studied mechatronics on the university, so I didn't know much about economics, I didn't know much about marketing, but when I started my company, I first went to the university, talked to the professor, which is, there's an institute for entrepreneurship, founding companies. He sent me to Tech2B, which is the incubator company, and there we have been in a process which was 1.5 years, where you have meetings every about 2 or 3 months. They ask you, okay, what's the problems right now? Okay, well, now marketing should start. We have somebody who can help you here. We have some, some network partners we can send you. So there's always somebody holding your hand in the whole process. And it's about to you what you take from them. So if you want to use this help or not. So it's not that they're pushing you or pressure you, but if you ask, you always get good and the right answers, in my opinion.
Any other comments from the floor? Is that okay?
Yeah, on a policy level, I think what the city of Linz did was to invest into the intermediaries, into those people who have networks, who want to help other people because they love what they do. And if I take a look at the tobacco factory, most of the people in the beginning had a background in arts, in culture, and these are the kinds of people who love to work long hours because they love what they do. And I think this is a key thing in the policy level, to not only put programs up which directly go into the creative companies, but also into places like the tobacco factory, or into organizations like the Creative Region, which offer support for these companies on a very, you know, sometimes it's not really easy to define what it is, what is helping them, because it's more of a thing that there's somebody who understands you and who gives you a good feeling about what you're going to do and gives you a sense of direction. rather than saying, yeah, now it's in week 7 you have to put up a Facebook campaign and then you do have to do that.
Thank you, Thomas. And this is actually one of the topics we wanted to address. Is about the brokerage. This is the function of brokerage, how to bring the people together. And I think it's important to look at the brokerage attitude, not just trying to get links within your own sector, within creatives with creatives, although you can produce a lot of innovation there, but it's also trying to bridge or to bridge the gap to other sectors, because that's where you as creative have much more potential for making better business, better money, by using your know-how that other traditional companies do not have. The easiest example is to make with design in, I would say, wood processing. Then there's something tangible that comes out of such a cooperation. And coming to this, maybe still related to the tobacco factory, how do you look forward to the next development when you're making this or opening to much more companies waiting on the waiting list? How do you find the right mix between the sectors, between a variety of actors from the creative sectors, but are there any other sectors envisaged or targeted?
That's a good question, because I think that's basically the most important question for us, who to let in first. And we have now defined if each part of the building has its own focus. And one of the focuses, for example, will be production. We want to bring in people who do workshops, who do real production on a small scale, handcraft, for example. There will be 2 different printers, one who is doing handmade printing, like with old Heidelberg machines, one who is specialized on textile printing. We will have a small manufacturing of e-bikes and stuff like that. Then on the other end of the building, there will be more like a focus on research and education. Thank you. For example, there will be part of the University of Arts. There will be a new school. There will be a research for about an artist where we're going to buy her works. Yeah, and in the middle, in between, we want to set up the spaces where, which are bridges between the theoretical part, which is the education and the research, and the practical part, which is the production. So we want to bring in people who can bridge this gap between these 2 parts. And to give you some concrete example, there will be on the one side, there will be the University of Arts, where students learn about fashion and technology. Then in the middle, there will be small offices for fashion designers. And on the other end, there will be a textile printer. So you have like a sort of production chain in between these parts. That's the basic idea of the next step.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Any other questions from the floor?
Hello, my name is Martin Dale. Actually, I live in the city, so I consider myself as being from here. First of all, I would like to thank you all for coming here and sharing all your experience and everything with us. But actually, I would have question more to the organizers here, because my question is, what will Pilsen learn from all experience that your colleagues from Linz brought you here, and how you will help startups here? We are talking here about Linz, which is fine, it's nice, it's cool, right? But they are there. We are a little bit behind, and a little bit is maybe a weak word for that. And from my own experience, I have a startup. I started in January this year, and nobody helps me from within the city, or I don't even know maybe where to go, whom to ask for support, for help, maybe some knowledge I need. Yeah, so my question would be to Pilsen.
Thank you for the question. If I can if I can reply shortly. You know, like, I've been here working here for 3 years. And my idea when I came here was to set up the conditions for to help startups and also to help like creative people to start doing something. At the beginning, it doesn't have to be a company. It can be just I have an idea, so I can prepare a project. And that's why we settled, for example, some instruments. One from the instruments could be, for example, co-working space. So in Plzeň, as you probably know, we have a co-working space where you can rent a space for really small amount of money, for example, €20 per month. And I think that's nice support from us to work in a space where you can meet some other people which are also creatives. And the second instrument could be, for example, crowdfunding like website, which is called Everfund, which Plzeň 2015 opened 1.5 years ago. And it's also something like I have a project, I would like to share the project with the others. And I would like to help ask the crowd to if they would like to support me or not. So it's kind of a marketing tool as well. And except of this online platform, there are also like many events like this. For example, this Plzeňský business hotel we mentioned, which is kind of a networking platform as well for not only startups but also for investors from different sectors. And besides business hotel, there is also like Everfund offline, which is very which we are trying to invite people who have interesting projects and also give them a stage, you know. For example, for many people really for the first time present their project in front of people of 30 or 40. And it could be also a good lecture. And when I'm talking about near future, why we are here now at the moment and why we are now having this discussion is because over the river there is a Depot 2015 building, not only the building but also the services. So we are now really working hard on preparing this consultancy, like also lecture service for you as a startup. So if you need some new financial instrument, if you need something to help, for example, if you would like to start your entrepreneurship in abroad, then you should come in near future. In a few months, you should come to us and ask us. So now we are building a network of experts, of lecturers, of people who could really help you. So I hope it works. And that's why we are here and we are trying to learn.
Any other questions from the floor? Yes.
From the audience. I will just add to what Michaela said from, again, European Commission. We have a number of financial instruments also for young entrepreneurs. Quite a new program. It's called Erasmus for entrepreneurs, in Czech, Erasmus pro podnikatele. I think it matches very well with the idea I think you have. So please get in touch with YOUrope Direct Information Centers. There is one in Plzeň in Techmania, or you can go to the City Council. They will have information or the representation directly. There are also a number of other projects that help startups or people with ideas to start their business.
Thank you. Any other questions from the audience? Yes.
So now we open the topic of services, like which kind of service you offer to the startups, for example. And that's really interesting topic, I think, because I would like to ask, because while we are preparing this creative incubator in Depot 2015, so it means lectures, it means consultancy, it means mentoring, you know, from people who are experienced already. That's which is going to be the pilot service will be open in April. So please, I would like to ask you, I think Tabakfabrik and also Ars Electronica Center, you have this kind of mentoring incubation program. If you would like to, even if you can share with us, like what you are really focusing on and which kind of service you offer. Thank you.
For us, as coming out of this art environment, the transformation to the business is actually one that we're kind of taking also ourselves right now with, as I said, this newest department, which is called Ars Electronica Solutions. And this was also for us a very difficult, or it still is a very difficult step, you know. If you work in an artistic environment, you have your artistic projects, and then kind of making the step from this prototype kind of environment into, let's call it real life, real business, where in the end you have customers who pays for something and not a broad audience that you show your exhibition or your performance or something like else, but in having a real and end customer. So this is also a transformation process that we are actually going through right now. And I said what was pointed out this, and also by Thomas, this kind of whole development chain is a very important thing. We do support in various stages. Having a wonderful example sitting right next to me is having a winner of our pre-Ars Electronica, which in the end means that this is, as a winner or as another, you get reputation because you get a worldwide coverage and knowledge. People know your name afterwards, and it also means that you win prize money. And when I said we founded this prize in '87, and every year we hand out 100,000 euros in prize money, you can do the math how much money we gave to creative people to start to raise their businesses, etc. To be a little example of one of the winners of pre-Ars Electronica, with the money he made here, he is doing millions of dollars now, because his name is John Lasseter, and in '87 he was the winner of the first pre-Ars Electronica in computer animation, and that was actually the time that John Lasseter together with Steve Jobs founded Pixar Studios. So a little bit of money from Ars Electronica, from the town of Linz and from the supporters around here, went into the success of Pixar Studios. And this is an international example, but there are hundreds of other examples in Linz, one sitting right next to me.
From my point of perspective, we try to establish a place where people have a creative atmosphere, and I think, and fast internet, that's important as well. And this was basically one of the first things we did, to just, you know, clean out rooms, get internet and electricity there, and most of the creative people were happy with this kind of space, which was interesting because other companies didn't see the value in it, because it didn't have like a double ceiling and double floor and like the top modern standards of office space. But creative people need another kind of atmosphere and another kind of infrastructure to work inside. And as a service, I think, again, we do things like we go around, we talk to people, and if somebody tells us, yeah, I'm going to do a project about this and this, we say, hey, have you talked with the other one? He is going to do something similar, or he has done something like that, and maybe he has some knowledge which can help you. And this is really the thing of down to the earth networking, which you can do when you have a place like the tobacco factory where you're on site and where you can go around and meet the people every day. And create spaces like we have a small cafeteria or a small restaurant where people meet, and for me this is like the most important space, because there I can get updates from everybody, what they're working on, what they're doing. So if I want to know what is up in the factory, what are the people working on, I go there, I talk to people, I meet people. I don't have to, you know, make appointments and say I'm going to meet you next week on 7 o'clock. So I just have to go there. And creating spaces like this is important for a creative atmosphere. And furthermore, maybe one example from the creative region, which is not us, but they are rented space with us. There are many different hundreds of fundings for creative people. If you take a look at the European program at Creative Europe, there are hundreds and thousands of programs. There on state level, there are so many programs, and also many other branches like the Leonardo project and the level. You can find things where you can get money for your project or for your company or for your organization. And the creative region tries to have a guideline or have guides who can tell you what is the best funding for you. There are enough fundings, you have just to know where to go to and what do you need to apply and which partners do I need and who do you need to talk to. This is the thing, the kind of service which is really helpful for people.
Sorry, Barbara, I would like to just react on that, because Creative Region Linz is something which I think is really important in every country, but that's something what we are missing in the Czech Republic. We don't have any agency where you come, or cluster, where you come as a startup and ask like for this kind of service. So that's why we are trying to settle something like this. We tried on the national level, now, okay, it didn't work on the Ministry of Culture, Ministry of Trade. It's really like it's increasing, you know, awareness of creative industries and why it is important to support startups. It is increasing. That's connected to the programs for startups, for rents, for rentings, for all these things. It's increasing, but still in the Czech Republic we don't have this kind of agency. So that's just my my reaction.
Barbara? And I must add to you that we also started small. We didn't blow up at once, it started small. And I just wanted to add that beside Pre-Us Electronica, we have other competitions like the Edison Prize, and people participate more and more each year, yes? And it's also important, I saw in our startup centers, this community stays alive. Even people spread in different directions, but they keep in touch, they still talk, and the community becomes bigger and bigger every day. And it's just important to go the way and to start.
And again, leaving my moderator hat, adding something on concerning the network. If Creative Region is a network, then it has its own outside network. So it's the networks of the network. The reason why we're all here is also because we learn each other through a network. So an example that Creative Region did, it's this. When they're sending creatives abroad, is the residency programs where they're selecting creatives and sending them through their networks abroad to work and get in touch and develop their businesses at the international level. So it's always a network. It's just not very local or regional in itself, but it has additional layers nationally, internationally, so always thinking in a larger picture. We still have some 5 to 10 minutes, maybe. Oh, there's a question? Something to add
on. I want to go to your question again. You ask what could be the practice for helping young startups, young creatives, and we are talking about monitoring, and we are talking about the programs there in the tobacco factory. We have also aim that we have events there. We have big fairs there, the Wear Fair in fashion. We have the Mode Zone. We have Kunstdesignmarkt. There are several fairs where we can get practice for designers or for people who are very creative, but they don't get the connections to the makers, to the people who create big fairs, and we have them in our space, and we take care about this. And when we have events in our space, we take care that the renters will be in this program, or also that young creatives are get in contact with some people who help to help creative people. And perhaps this could be the connection between depot, later, and perhaps a way which we done here in the tobacco factory, perhaps.
My question is, so we've seen Lince as an example, and you have the faith and the belief that this could start in Czech Republic, in Plzeň. You can see that happening. Lince looked to me like a very big city. Plzeň is not small; it's like the third biggest city, but still, I would say on a scale to Lince seems smaller. I'm not sure. It's the same. Okay, great. So to remove these ideas from our head and to have faith and a dream that this is possible, because I think this is also part of our friend here's question is how do we bring this to practice sorry, how do we okay, I'm loud enough. How to bring this into the Czech Republic and Plzeň particularly. So you feel that we can learn from Lince and we can actually have our own, like in 6-7 years, like now, we can be the people sitting there giving this presentation, hopefully.
I can't speak for Plzeň, I'm sorry. I can speak about many things, but not for Plzeň.
I mean, just a quick reaction from me, because, I mean, what has been already done during this 5 years of preparation of European Capital of Culture, it's not only that circus you can see, it's beautiful, but it's not only this, but it's been also like really hard working on networking, as we learned already. So, for example, we have a great program which is called Artist in Residence. It's been working for many years, and exactly, if you are a designer and you would like to go abroad, you know, for a free or 4 months internship, it is possible, you know. There are some grants which could actually help you to find the institution and send you there. Or also, like, there is many, Personally, I experienced once that, for example, when we were part of big international project which is called Cross Innovation, with University of Birmingham, with people from Tallinn, all these like international actors, I experienced myself that we were also in that position. They asked us, like, okay, we could see that you already did something in Plzeň. For example, you know, you map the scene, you know the scene now, you know how many entrepreneurs in design or in architecture, in advertising are in the city, and you are trying to set the instruments. And as I mentioned, for example, this crowdfunding platform, this Everfund was something which is, from a European point of view, something really new. So we also have something to share, you know, not only like, we are not only listening, but we are trying to also spread the word about Plzeň and what we are doing here. This crowdfunding platform, as I mentioned, is kind of, if you would like to support the project, you can support it financially, but also like by your own sources. You can just support it, okay, I am a video maker, so I can make a video for you. So not only by money. And that, for example, this typical characteristic thing is something which, for example, people from Birmingham didn't see before. So just an example.
And I also think it's a very good opportunity to learn from peers. As you see, Linz is a city in a comparable size and dimension like Plzeň. And I think I speak for everybody that we're also in competition with Vienna. We're okay, the third, also like Plzeň, the third city in size in Austria. And of course, Vienna as a capital always has another attraction, also what creativity concerns. But as you see, it is possible. And there's a saying, in Linz begins, of which we're very proud of it. And it means it starts in Linz. So yes, you can see it's possible. That's the message. But we cannot tell you the recipe how to make it work in Plzeň. One last thing actually might be interesting is we asked the participants to prepare us what worked out and what did not work out, a success story or something that makes you particularly proud of your development. What would you give as a last word to the audience? We tried this, and this is something worked out very well in a few words, but we also tried this. Maybe you try to avoid going this way, if there's anything some of you would like to share with the audience.
Okay, what worked well from us Electronica point of view is this, as I already said before, this continuously commitment to something. And if Plzeň wants to go this way, it means actually also having a continuously support for those environment. It's not simply happening by founding a co-working space, supported for 1 year, and then it should found by themselves and it should refinance it itself. This is not going to happen. This means that this will take longer time until this network really can start to form and start to sustain itself. Itself, yeah. Something that didn't work out that well is still, as we're coming from artistic environment, from artwork, is that you really have to learn and this is something we did learn actually also on maybe on a difficult level, how to work together with how should I say, public offices kind of way. If you want to do something, you have a great idea, you have your emphasis, you want to really do something, and then you start to run into some kind of, well, it's not allowed to do this and that, and then you need a lot of finance, blah, 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 and you need a special permit for this, etc. And this is something that you have to figure out and to how to work your way around it. On the other hand, Linz and Pilsen have the great advantages that we're the same size and we're not too big. It's just around the corner, somebody who knows the solution, and you know that people sitting next officer can support you and help you find your way forward. So this is a bad thing we had to learn, but on the other hand, I think Linz and Pilsen have an advantage that we're not too big.
Thank you, Andreas.
What I think what's really working well in Linz is that I'm not exactly sure why, but there is an atmosphere that people get opportunities to try out stuff, and if it works, they can continue with it. And when I think back, when we started with the tobacco factory, we were sure that there will be a way where you can go and that it will work in some way or the other, but you can never be 100% sure. But we got the opportunity to try it out, and as it worked, we got the opportunity to continue with it. And I think it's the same thing with the Electronica. It was like in the 70s, it was a shot in the dark if it is working or not, and it did work, and that's the reason why I think Linz succeeds in so many cultural fields, because there's this atmosphere of opportunities. And on the other hand, on a policy level, what didn't work out that well, maybe which is something where you can learn from in Pilsen as well, was the spike in budget of the capital of Europe. Because the capital of Europe in Linz had a really big budget of about 80 million euros total, and they spent about in the first 2 years before the exact year, in 2007, 2008, spent a couple of millions for building up all these projects, and then in 1 year there was like this fireworks of projects, and we spent, I don't know, like 60 million euros in 1 year. And after that, of course, the money wasn't there as well, and many people who were really professional at what they did during the capital of Europe, they had to move away again because they weren't able to find any jobs, because the funding for the whole cultural scene, for the whole art scene, was the same as it was before the capital of culture. And I think it would be wise for the European Union to think about distributing the money in such a way on a more like round base, not like something like this. That's a policy thing, I think.
Thank you, Thomas. From the city of Linz, last comment.
One short word. What was good? I can't count the projects we did with all the partners, but everywhere where the heart is in the network, it works good. It works brilliant, and it spreads. And one thing which was not so good, you mentioned these works, these cultural works before, since 2007, 2008 until 2009, cultural project Höhenrausch, Tiefenrausch und Schaurausch. We are still waiting for the money from Europe. That was not so good. And we are working hard on getting it.
Thank you. Okay. If there are any other questions from the audience?
Yes,
sorry, Claus.
I wanna tell you about not about what not worked, because it takes so long. But from my perspective, what a city needs to shift from industry to creativity is, in the first place, time. It's nothing changed overnight, and we need open politicians for this idea of creativity as a vision for the future. And we need such institutions that have the awareness internationally for creativity, and we need institutions like the Tabakfabrik that brings us the supportive part. But for me, as an entrepreneur, we have to run our business, and we have to drive that, and the institutions can only be the turbo for our future. And my tip to force that is share your network. That's the first thing I do when I meet some new people. I think about who can I connect with them, who is helpful, and I think that's we work together to think about, can we help them? Do we know people? Can we bring them together that they can run your business better, easier, and successful? Thanks.
Thank you, Klaus. I would like to address the final word to Mrs. Wegscheider, the City Councillor of Linz.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very glad to be in Pilsen. It's my first time that I am in your town, and I give you the congratulation to be the culture capital this year. We told us a lot. We are networking very good, and also the politic is accompany our networks. And I want to tell you again that we started very, very small. And it's really 10 years ago that we started with this group and with this idea, and I hope we get friends. I invite you to come to Linz because we have told you a lot, but please start also and do the same. Then it's a very good way for a town, and also for a town like Pilsen, and I want to be friends with you. Thank you very much. Michaela, it's a Lince cake. It's very known in Europe. Thank you for being here. Tereza, please. It's our Lince cake. Thank you for being in Pilsen. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that what we learn here today and what we are all aware of is we would like to really network and cooperate and be open. So please.